Hello Year 8 and welcome to a tutorial about photosynthesis. This is Mr. Broadhead. So plants make their own food, okay? They don't get it from the soil in a process called photosynthesis. So let's actually have a look at what that word actually means. We'll break the word down. So first of all, we've got photo, and photo means using light. So when you take a photograph, it doesn't work without light being there. And then we've got synthesis. Now, synthesis means to make something, and in this case the plant is making food. So put it all together and we have photosynthesis means making food using light. So let's see what we can remember. So don't forget, you can pause this video at any time, give yourself a chance to answer the questions. There's only one or two questions. So the first one is write a word equation for photosynthesis. So see how you get on. And then see if you can write a balanced symbol equation for photosynthesis. Don't forget to pause the video while you try. And then self-assess your work, so see how far you got. So the word equation for photosynthesis is carbon dioxide and plus water, Carbon dioxide enters the plant through the underside of the leaves that we looked at in the previous tutorial. It goes through the stomata, which are controlled by the guard cells, and water is taken up by the roots of the plant. These are what we call the reactants. Now sunlight is in brackets, okay, because the energy from the sunlight is needed for this chemical reaction to take place. And then the products are glucose plus oxygen. And the balanced symbol equation for photosynthesis is 6CO2 plus 6H2O turns into C6H12O6 plus 6O2. So let's have a quick look at what plants actually use the glucose for once they've produced it during photosynthesis. So there's actually three things that plants will use the glucose for. The main one is to provide energy for themselves. So they do a chemical reaction exactly the same as animals called respiration. Now if you remember, respiration takes place in that mitochondria. Some of the glucose they will convert or change into starch for storage, so they can use it later if they're running low on energy. And they will also make new proteins and fats with it. And proteins are essential for growth. Okay, so let's have a look at why they actually store glucose as starch. So if we look at glucose, okay, we see that glucose is soluble, which means it dissolves in water. So if a plant wants to use it as a storage molecule, glucose will just dissolve and it won't stay in one place. Whereas if the plant converts it to starch, starch is actually insoluble. So it won't dissolve in the waters of the plant and move from one location to another. So let's have a look at how we can actually test for photosynthesis. So the presence of starch in a leaf, so remember, if we just go back, the plant will convert some glucose into starch. So if it's photosynthesized and produced glucose, then there should be starch present as well. So what we can do is we can test a leaf for that starch. And the test for starch is iodine solution. So if there is starch present in the leaf, and we add iodine to it, it will change from a brown liquid, which is iodine, into blue-black. So the starch test proves that photosynthesis needs light, carbon dioxide, and chlorophyll to take place. So you could have a think, how would you set up an experiment to test if light is actually needed for photosynthesis? So think back to the lessons. And how would you make this experiment fair and reliable? So think about your variables. So independent variable, the thing we deliberately change, the dependent variable, the one that we measure, and the control variables, the ones we keep the same. Thank you very much.